King Roczen, I am your father.
What's up, my dudes? You boys are killing it with these memes out here, bro. Oh my god, I've seen like 10 of those where it's like Cooper Webb's the daddy giving the Ken Roczen baby a spanking, right? Oh my gosh, you boys are some savages, I'm gonna tell you that for sure. So either way, we got Cooper Webb looking like he's, pretty much gonna be the 2021 Supercross 450 champion. I know this is crazy because if you would have asked anybody like 7 races ago when Ken Roczen had those 3 in a row wins and Webb was like nowhere to be found, you'd have sounded crazy if you would have said something like, oh, I think Webb's going to come back and win, right? Isn't it interesting how the tables turn, right? Isn't it interesting? I mean, this 450 series is just so long that people just don't realize, like, you can be the man, the absolute man in the first half of the series, but that don't really mean shit. Like, everything can change once you get to the second half of the series, you know what I mean? And it seems like it does that every single year. If you guys don't remember, I'm the tea sipper, the predictor, right? So my predictions at the start of the season was I said that Tomac wasn't going to win this year. So that's definitely already panned out. And then the other thing I said was I thought that it was either going to be Cincerillo, Webb, or Osborne, right? Like one of those fresh dudes like that. Oh, here we go, dog. Replaying the races. Here we go. So basically, I predicted it was either going to be Cincerillo, Webb, or Osborne is going to be the one that actually wins the title, and that was before I knew that Cincerillo only had 10 days on the bike before the championship. So really, that was kind of like I shouldn't even have had Cincerillo in there. I wouldn't have had I known that he only had 10 days on the bike. So really, my main predictions here was actually Webb or Osborne, and it's looking like Webb's going to potentially get it done here again. I mean, it's to the point now where it's just like there's been so many races in a row where either Roczen has been starting in front of Webb or Roczen has been right there behind Webb, and Webb just puts the hurting on him. Like, there ain't no other way to say it, man. He's definitely got his shit together now. But I do want to say it is going to be interesting when they go to these 2 or 3 outdoor Atlantona, as I call them, races, these, outdoor Daytona-style Atlanta races. This is certainly going to be interesting seeing how Webb is able to perform at those. I think Tomac's going to do pretty well at those, obviously. That doesn't really take a rocket scientist to figure that one out, but which is going to be interesting because it's going to shake things up a little bit, It's even Tomac's having trouble getting to Webb now. You guys saw it in a couple of these Arlington races. Tomac was starting right there pretty good. It wasn't like, oh, Tomac just can't get a start, that's why he's not up there, right? No. There's like, Tomac is not putting it together, dog. He's just not. In most of the races this year, he is just not putting it together. Yeah, he had that one race where he was kind of gaining on Webb a little bit, and then he spun out in the corner and then went backwards. But like, Webb is on the money right now. I'm telling you. Like, if it's to the point where Webb can go out there and lead the whole damn thing, like, 2 seconds ahead of Roczen and Tomac and lead the whole race and never get past, he's got it going on, man. And if he can go in there and just straight up pass Roczen, like, pass him clean, didn't have to pass him dirty, do anything like that. I think that was the Arlington round 3, right? You would have thought with all the smack talk and all that shit that, Webb would have like tried to be more dirty, but he really wasn't. He just like straight up passed Roczen, just straight up went around him, dog. Like, followed him for half of the race and then just straight up went around him like he wasn't even there. I mean, he's like Webb's in the realm of demoralization now. He's beaten him so many times now that it's starting to get to that point, and beating him in a certain fashion, right? It's not like, oh, Webb just completely pulled the whole shot and he was like everybody else was so much further behind and tried to catch back up and they couldn't or whatever. He's beating them in such a fashion now. They've all had chances. Tomac, Roczen, they've all had chances to really catch back up and beat Webb in a bunch of these different races, and they've just straight up not been able to do it. Webb's been more consistent. He's been, you can say Tomac's been a little faster potentially in a couple of the races. Even Webb himself said it, right? Tomac's probably the fastest guy that one night that he spun out and lost toe on Webb there, but either way, it don't really matter how you slice it. Webb's putting the hurting on them, and if they don't do something drastic, Tomac's already out of this championship completely. I can promise you that. Tomac is not going to come back from how many points back he is. So it's really just between Roczen and Webb at this point, and isn't it crazy how quick the points can flip, right? Like when Roczen goes in there and gets like a 5th and then Webb wins, it is such a drastic points gap between if you don't finish on the podium at all, because those are where you gain 3 points per position versus just 1 point per position. So AMA's got it to a point now where it's like it's detrimental if you don't finish on the podium, right? You're going to lose all kinds of points if you don't finish on that podium. You're going to, and your competitor does finish like first or whatever, and you get like a 4th or a 5th, you're going to be down like 10 points from that, right? Even though it was only like a 2 or 3 position difference, you're going to be down way more points than you think, and that's what's causing this to kind of catch up to Roczen here in a very quick manner. This is I hate to say it because I like Roczen. Trust me, I got nothing against Roczen. Think he's awesome. Think he's awesome for what he's done. Been able to come back from all those injuries and all that. Trust me, I have absolutely nothing against Roczen, but like, this is almost a replay of what happened last year where Roczen was doing pretty good. He was right up there in the points with Tomac. Then all of a sudden they get past Daytona, and it's like in 2 or 3 rounds, it's almost to the point where Roczen's so far back, he's just not really going to be able to catch up. I mean, he's still there. I think he's like 12 points behind or something like that right now. So he's not a crazy amount back yet, but like he went from, dominating, leading the points to like now he's behind, 12, 15 points, something like that, right? So it's just, and they've been talking about it quite a bit on the broadcast and stuff, talking about how Roczen's been looking good at the first half of the series, but then he just can't hold it together at the second half of the series. Oh, my God. That dude wadded. But, and it's just starting to kind of seem like another replay of that here. I mean, he's still doing okay. He's still got, like, some seconds in there, but now that Webb is doing so good, Roczen cannot, and I repeat, cannot get another 5th place finish or anything like that. He has got to be on the podium, like no question about it. If he wants to win this title, he has to be getting wins, because Webb's going to be there now. Webb is like the opposite of Roczen in the sense of Webb don't look quite as good at the first half of the series and then turns it on towards the second half of the series, and that's a recipe for disaster if you're Ken Roczen. Like, a recipe for disaster. But with these Atlanta races being in the NASCAR, tri-ovals of the Atlanta, NASCAR Speedway, right? It's definitely going to allow Tomac to get up there a little more. So you're going to have like Tomac potentially holding Webb up a little more and potentially allowing Roczen to get up in there a little more. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But what do we have? Like 6, 7 rounds left? So you just kind of add up the points in your head, and it's like, if Webb gets at least a second in every race, Roczen would have to win every single one of those races to beat Webb. Basically, in a nutshell, he would have to do that. So this ain't no joke. I mean, it's starting to get down to that point where Roczen cannot afford to lose any more points. He just can't, like... And, he passed Webb in the heat race. They kind of did the double wham bam on Webb there. Sexton and Roczen did, right? So it looked like, oh, yeah, Roczen's got his shit back together, and Webb just pulled through. Roczen pulls the whole shot and everything. in the main event, Webb just comes on up there, passes him pretty clean, not a whole lot of contact at all, and just goes on past him, and Roczen can't really do anything about it. He can't catch back up. He just couldn't hardly do anything about it. So this is that time where Roczen's going to have to dig deep. This is that time where Webb's just going to have to keep doing what he does. And, that's one thing you got to remember. Webb won his first title, but then last year, Webb had the crash where he hit his back, right? Flipped off onto the concrete, hit his back or whatever, and got injured. So, Webb's been on it ever since he got on it on the 450. You see what I'm saying? He ain't never missed a beat, really. Yeah, he had the injury and missed, some of the season last year. That's why he wasn't in there for the title fight. But Webb is still right there. This is not a situation of Jason Anderson where he's just gonna kind of start to fall off or whatever after he wins one Supercross title. Webb is still right there. He's still on the money, gassing it, going for the title. He just started a little slower this year, but now he is, he's got all the pieces of that puzzle now. It's he's already won one, so he knows how to do it. There's not quite as much pressure on him, right? So he's already won the one, and he's still real good in that prime age range. He's not like, Tomac age or Roczen age or anything like that. Prime age, right? Got over his injury from last year, so you could definitely see Webb go on a 3-4 championship run here in the next few years. You could definitely see it for sure. Like I'm saying, if he didn't get injured last year, what would have been with a potential another championship out of Webb from last year. So, just saying, Webb ain't really missed a beat since he's gotten on this KTM team, other than the one injury, but he's been on it ever since he got on this KTM team, and ain't nothing changed, right? So, but either way, it's that point now where it's we don't know if Roczen and Tomac's if they're gonna run the next year, if they're even gonna race the next year or the year after that. We don't know. You at least expect Webb to race another 5, 6, 7 years at the minimum. But with Tomac and Roczen, if they don't start doing it, they ain't going to be able to do it. Webb still has that time on his hands, that time on his side where he can still, get a bunch of these championships. Tomac's kind of already missed the boat on that one, not winning the past. He won last year, but the 3 or 4 years before that, him not winning those, he missed his chance there. And with Roczen and all the injuries, he's missed a lot of his chances during his prime years. So, Tomac and Roczen are actually in a very similar boat as far as their age, the amount of Supercross titles they have. Of course, Roczen doesn't have any right now, and Tomac has the one, but still yet, they're very similar in situations as far as I don't think you're going to see a lot more racing out of Tomac and Roczen. I just don't think you're going to see it because they're having to ride and train and do all that at such a high level. You don't do that for very, very long, You don't ride on that Villapoto level for very long. You can't. It's too dangerous. It's too fast. It takes too much energy. It takes too much, time investment and all those different things. So, that crazy Tomac, wicked speed Tomac that we saw over the past 4 years, I think that era is kind of starting to come to an end. It's starting to dwindle down to, Tomac's just not quite as bad to the bone as he was beforehand. Yeah, he won Daytona. But man, Tomac is just nowhere near looking like what he has looked like before. So that definitely also plays into Webb's hands as well. Webb can definitely beat Tomac straight up. It's not like that situation of oh no, Tomac's just going to beat Webb every single time if he gets behind him. We've already seen that play out. So there's just nobody's really even threatening Webb at this point, you know what I mean? Which is going to give Webb all the confidence in the world. And that's everything to this game, right? This Supercross game, it's just confidence is everything. So, And that's, confidence is getting demoralized, destroyed when it comes to Ken Roczen, because he's getting straight up ass handed to him by Webb. And then with Tomac, it's like he's out of the championship. So he's kind of in a weird place where he's going for wins, but like at the same time, he's struggling to get wins. He's really struggling to get wins over Webb, even when he's right there behind him from the start, right? So either way, man, it's looking like this is going to pan out for Webb here for the two. But, we still have enough races for crazy shit to happen. We definitely do. If Webb goes in there and gets a couple of thirds and fourths and Roczen gets on another winning streak, it could get right back up in there, even in the points, right? But for what it's been looking like, and of course, all these 3 races where Webb's really been tearing them up has been in the same stadium, the Arlington Stadium. So, you have to imagine things are at least going to shake up a little bit once they go to these other, especially the Atlanta outdoor style, Daytona style tracks and some of these other, Salt Lake City tracks and stuff. But I don't think those Salt Lake City tracks are going to play into Roczen's hands. I mean, you saw how that went last year. I think both of those tracks are going to play into Tomac's hands more than anybody's. But, yeah, it's not really looking too good for Roczen here. So either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.